Hot chocolate. The Olmecs were drinking chocolate nearly 3,500 years ago. Not the sweet, cozy drink you know, it was a bitter, frothy liquid made from crushed cacao beans mixed with water. The Maya refined it, the Aztecs prized it, and when Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés arrived in Mexico in the early 1500s, he brought cacao back to Europe in 1528. The Spanish sweetened it with sugar and served it hot. For nearly a century, Spain kept the recipe a national secret. Real hot chocolate is made with actual chocolate, chopped bars, or melted chocolate whisked into steamed milk. That fat content from cocoa butter is what makes it thick, glossy, and rich. In Spain and Italy today, hot chocolate is so dense you can almost stand a spoon in it. In Turin, Italy, there's a version called Bicerin served since 1763, chocolate, coffee, and cream layered in a small glass. No stirring allowed. American hot chocolate tends to be lighter, closer to hot cocoa, but the authentic European version is essentially drinkable dessert. The flavor is deep, bittersweet, and velvety in a way that powder simply cannot replicate. Here's what most people don't know: the Maya drank chocolate cold, spiced with chili and flavored with vanilla and achiote. Sugar didn't enter the picture until Europeans took over. The drink that defined cozy winter nights in the West started as a savory, spiced, room-temperature ritual in ancient Mesoamerica. Hot cocoa. In 1828, a Dutch chemist named Coenraad van Houten invented a hydraulic press that changed the chocolate world permanently. Before him, chocolate drinks were greasy and separated because of cocoa butter. His press extracted the fat, leaving behind a dry cocoa cake that could be ground into powder. Then he treated it with alkaline salts, a process called Dutching, which darkened the color, softened the bitterness, and made it dissolve easily in liquid. That invention gave the world hot cocoa. Hot cocoa is cocoa powder, sugar, and hot milk or water. It's lighter, faster, and more accessible than hot chocolate. No melting, no whisking chocolate bars, just stir and drink. In 1961, a company called Brown & Williamson Foods launched Swiss Miss in the United States, and the game changed again. Instant cocoa powder in a packet, just add hot water. It became an American pantry staple overnight. The flavor is milder and sweeter than hot chocolate, the texture thinner. It's the drink of snow days, school lunches, and childhood. But here's the trade-off: the Dutching process that makes cocoa powder so smooth and dark also strips a significant portion of its natural antioxidants called flavonols. The darker and smoother the cocoa, the more processing it went through, and the fewer health benefits remain. Natural cocoa powder, lighter in color, slightly acidic, more bitter, actually retains more of those antioxidants. The prettiest hot cocoa isn't always the healthiest. Chocolate milk. Around 1687, an Irish physician named Sir Hans Sloane traveled to Jamaica and encountered locals mixing cacao with water. He found it unpleasant alone, so he mixed it with milk. He brought the recipe back to England, where it was initially sold by apothecaries as a medicinal drink. Chocolate milk, born as medicine. Today it's a $2 billion industry in the United States alone. Commercially produced chocolate milk combines pasteurized milk with cocoa powder or chocolate syrup, sugar, and stabilizers like carrageenan to keep everything evenly mixed and prevent separation. The fat percentage of the milk matters enormously. Whole milk chocolate milk and skim chocolate milk are almost different drinks. One is rich and creamy, the other thin and sweet. Chocolate milk holds a surprisingly serious place in sports science. Its natural ratio of carbohydrates to protein, roughly 4:1, closely mirrors what exercise physiologists recommend for post-workout muscle recovery. Legitimate studies published in peer-reviewed journals have compared it directly against commercial recovery drinks and found comparable results. Gatorade has marketing. Chocolate milk has decades of accidental nutritional engineering. 37% of all flavored milk sold in the United States is chocolate. It's the dominant flavor by a massive margin, and it's been that way for generations. A drink invented by accident in the Caribbean, prescribed as medicine in England, is now the most consumed flavored milk on Earth. Mocha. The port city of Mocha sits on the coast of Yemen. Between the 15th and 17th centuries, it was the most important coffee trading hub in the world. The beans exported from Mocha were unlike any other, grown in volcanic soil, processed naturally. They carried a winey, earthy flavor with unmistakable chocolate undertones. No added chocolate, just terroir. That's where the name comes from. Today's calf mocha is espresso, chocolate sauce, and steamed milk, typically finished with whipped cream. It's the only major coffee drink where chocolate is a structural ingredient, not an optional syrup. The espresso is pulled first, chocolate sauce added directly to the hot shot, then steamed milk poured over the top. The heat and the agitation from the pour naturally incorporates the chocolate without extra stirring. Starbucks calf mocha consistently ranks among their top 5 best-selling drinks globally. It normalized the chocolate-coffee combination for an entire generation of coffee drinkers who might otherwise find straight espresso too intense. The chocolate softens the bitterness, adds sweetness, and rounds out the acidity. It's coffee with training wheels that somehow became a permanent staple. What's fascinating is that the original Yemeni mocha beans never needed any of this. The chocolate flavor was already there, grown into the bean by the land itself. The modern mocha is essentially the world's attempt to recreate what one specific piece of Yemeni coastline produced naturally. Chocolate milkshake. In 1885, the word milkshake appeared in print for the first time, and it described a whiskey-based drink with eggs and flavoring. By the early 1900s, the alcohol was gone and ice cream was in. By the 1920s and 30s, soda fountains across America were selling chocolate milkshakes to teenagers sitting on bar stools, and the cultural icon was locked in. The construction is simple: chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream with chocolate syrup, cold whole milk blended until thick. The ratio of milk to ice cream controls everything. Less milk, you need a spoon; more milk, you can drink it through a straw. Commercial shake machines at fast food chains use soft serve and calibrated dispensers to hit the same consistency every single time. Chocolate milkshakes sit on the exact border between beverage and dessert. A large chocolate milkshake at a typical American diner can run 800 to over 1,000 calories. It is unapologetically indulgent, and that's the entire point. Nobody orders a chocolate milkshake thinking they're making a responsible decision. Here's the Ray Kroc connection most people don't know. Before Ray Kroc became the man who franchised McDonald's into a global empire, he was a milkshake machine salesman. He visited Dick and Mac McDonald's San Bernardino burger stand in 1954 specifically because they had ordered an unusually large number of his multimixer machines. He walked in to understand why they needed so many milkshakes made simultaneously, and walked out having seen the future of fast food. The milkshake introduced Ray Kroc to McDonald's. Milo. 1934, Australia. The Great Depression is devastating household budgets. A food technologist named Thomas Main working for Nestlé develops a powdered chocolate malt drink designed to be nutritious, affordable, and energy-dense. He names it after Milo of Croton, an ancient Greek wrestler of legendary strength. The branding was intentional from day one. Milo is a specific combination: cocoa, malted barley, milk powder, sugar, and added vitamins including iron, calcium, and B vitamins. It's designed to be mixed into hot or cold milk, though millions of people across Asia and Africa eat it dry straight from the tin with a spoon, savoring the undissolved granules on top. That undissolved powder layer is beloved and debated. Hardcore Milo fans insist the drink must be made with cold milk specifically to preserve the chunky top layer. Hot milk dissolves it completely, considered by purists to be a waste. Milo is bigger in Malaysia, Singapore, and Nigeria than it is in Australia. In Malaysia, it is woven into daily life, consumed at breakfast, sold at school canteens, and served from iconic green Milo trucks at public events where people genuinely line up for free iced Milo like it's a national ritual. Nigerian Milo consumption per capita rivals Australian figures. A drink invented in Australia during the Great Depression became a cultural institution across 3 different continents, each with its own specific way of preparing and consuming it. Champurrado. Before the Spanish arrived in Mexico, the Aztecs were drinking atol, a warm, thick beverage made from mochaHigh, which is dried and ground corn dough dissolved in water. It was sustenance as much as a drink, a staple of daily life and ceremony. When Spanish colonizers arrived after 1521 and introduced cacao, sugar, and cinnamon to Mexican food culture, the two traditions fused. Atol met chocolate. Champurrado was born. To make it, mochaHigh is dissolved in water first, then combined with Mexican chocolate, typically Ibarra brand, which comes in rough, grainy discs premixed with sugar, cinnamon, and almonds, along with piloncillo, which is unrefined cane sugar pressed into hard brown cones, and milk. The entire mixture is stirred continuously over heat until it thickens into something between a drink and a porridge. The texture is unlike any other chocolate drink, earthy, grainy, smooth. It is warming in a way that hot chocolate, for all its richness, doesn't quite achieve. Champurrado is inseparable from Mexican celebrations. Dia de los Muertos, Las Posadas during December. It is served alongside tamales as a pair so traditional that selling one without the other at a street stall in Mexico City would be considered strange. It is a drink that carries 500 years of cultural memory in every cup. Piloncillo, the unrefined sugar used, contains trace minerals, molasses, and micronutrients that are completely stripped out during the refining process that produces regular white sugar. It adds a subtle depth, a slight bitterness underneath the sweetness that refined sugar cannot replicate. The Aztecs built a corn-based drink. The Spanish brought chocolate. 500 years later, the combination is still being sold on street corners every December morning. Chocolate protein shake. In the 1950s and 60s, bodybuilding culture emerging from Muscle Beach in Venice, California started experimenting with high-protein diets and supplementation. Early protein powders were crude, chalky, and genuinely terrible tasting. Manufacturers quickly learned that chocolate, specifically the combination of cocoa bitterness, sweetness, and fat-like mouthfeel, was the most effective flavor at masking the off-tastes of raw protein concentrate. Chocolate became the best-selling protein powder flavor in the 1990s and has never been displaced. By 2023, the global protein supplement market was valued at over $21 billion. Chocolate flavor drives an estimated 35 to 40% of all sales. Modern chocolate protein shakes are built from whey protein concentrate or isolate, plant-based proteins like pea or brown rice, cocoa powder, sweeteners, stevia, sucralose or sugar, and emulsifiers like sunflower lecithin for smooth mixing. Whey-based versions are typically smoother and creamier. Plant-based versions can be grainier and earthier, though modern formulations have closed the gap significantly. The flavor ranges from thin and medicinal in low-quality powders to genuinely dessert-like in premium formulations. Some protein shakes taste closer to a chocolate milkshake than a supplement. That's entirely deliberate. Texture and flavor engineering in sports nutrition is a serious and expensive science. Here's the part that reframes the entire industry. Whey protein, the single most consumed protein supplement on Earth, is a byproduct of cheese manufacturing. When milk is curdled to make cheese, it separates into curds and liquid whey. For most of industrial history, that liquid whey was discarded or fed to pigs. The fitness industry looked at a waste product from dairy manufacturing and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar global ingredient. The most popular chocolate drink in every gym in America is built on what was once considered garbage.